How's it going, friends? Welcome to VR Revelations. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you give the video a like and make sure you subscribe for future content. It is January 24th, the year of our Lord 2023. So let's jump right into it. As you can see here, according to CNN, looks like Olaf Scholz, the head of the government in Germany, has apparently decided that they are going to send German Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine, which Zelensky has been begging for. Now, we've seen since a couple of days ago when American leadership met with Ukrainian leadership and German leadership in the Ramstein air base in Germany, where they failed to reach a consensus about sending American Abrams tanks and Leopard 2 tanks into Ukraine. Ever since then, all we literally see on the mainstream news media is articles about asking if, Germany has finally allowed the Leopard 2 tanks to be sent to Ukraine. Pretty much they've all been pressuring Germany's government. And according to CNN, it looks like they finally decided that they are. Of course, Russia has been threatening a major escalation if Germany decides to send these tanks into Ukraine, because, of course, it's going to awaken World War II memories, right, of German tanks invading Russia. So I just wanted to show you here. We have Reuters pretty much covering this. Germany to send Leopard tanks to Kyiv. The New York Times, Germany says it will decide soon on sending tanks to Ukraine 13 minutes ago. The Guardian, that's all these Western propaganda websites have literally been covering for like the last 3 days. Like they've been pressuring Germany nonstop. And I think it's no surprise to anybody that sooner or later, Germany was going to give in. And apparently it looks like they are here, so I guess those scientists probably should have moved the doomsday clock a little bit closer to midnight, huh? So let's read here. It says Germany is set to send its sought-after Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine to help bolster the country's war effort. Der Spiegel reported on Tuesday evening, attributing to unnamed sources. They're always citing unnamed sources. Like, how reliable are these propaganda websites, right? German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has... Sorry about that, guys. I'm getting some messages there on my cell phone. It says, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has decided to deliver the battle tanks following months of debate. Wow, so Olaf Scholz has decided to deliver the battle tanks. Wow. According to German news outlets' exclusive report, the German parliament is due to debate the contentious issue on Wednesday morning. Okay, so it looks like Olaf Scholz apparently here decided that they are going to deliver the tanks, and he's been the one that's been holding back, right? He's supposed to be the guy that was getting in the way. I would say the clear thinker, because this will escalate things there in Ukraine. But it looks like he gave the green light, and now tomorrow the German parliament is going to debate this, which is very interesting because one of the reasons that Germany was giving for the hesitation in sending these Leopard 2 tanks is because the population was split, or rather the majority of the population in Germany was against escalating the situation and sending these Leopard 2 tanks. So we'll see just how much the parliament actually represents the people of Germany, or if they will all fall in line behind Ukraine's requests and Western pressure. And I think they will fall in line. Deciding to send them would be a landmark moment in the West's support for Kyiv that follows days of intense pressure on Berlin from some of its NATO partners. And all mainstream news websites also. You can include CNN in that also. CNN reached out to the German government for comment on Tuesday evening, but has not received a response. The report comes shortly after United States officials revealed on Tuesday that the Biden administration is finalizing plans to send U.S.-made tanks to Ukraine. Germany had indicated to the U.S. last week that it would not send its Leopard tanks unless the U.S. also agreed to send its own M1 Abrams tanks. So I did read another article, and apparently the United States is planning on buying Abrams tanks from other countries and then outsourcing those to Ukraine to make it seem like it's not them that's really sending them. It's really just silly. It's like, just if you're making this push, to destroy Russia, just be a man about it and send your tanks. Why are you playing all these silly political games, right? I mean, Russia has already declared that they're essentially at war with NATO, the United States, and Britain. So why are you buying tanks from other countries? Because you're scared of sending your own? It's just really silly. Sending Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine would provide Kyiv's forces with a modern and powerful military vehicle ahead of a potential Russian spring offensive. Again, this is the major offensive that is being rumored that the Russians are going to launch on Ukraine. It would also come as a blow to the Kremlin, which has seen a growing campaign to equip Ukrainian troops with high-tech fighting systems as Russia's ground war nears the one-year mark. So, there you have it, guys. According to CNN, Olaf Scholz has decided already. They're just going to debate it tomorrow in the German parliament there. But I wanted to take you over here to this report by 24/7 News. So we can read a little bit about how the Russians have said they will react to this. So we can see here it says, Russian generals suggest to Vladimir Putin to declare general mobilization in Russia as soon as the first German tank enters Ukraine. According to the Russians, NATO is planning a new Operation Barbarossa, a fact that fully justifies the general mobilization. Now, if you don't know, Operation Barbarossa is the name that Nazi Germany gave to their massive operation to defeat the Soviet Union. And that was the operation where they launched an all-out attack on Russia, which we know in the end backfired. The Russians were able to resist the Germans, and eventually we know that they pushed them out of Russia, and Hitler killed himself at the end. And the Russians were the first to reach Berlin. So it was a fatal decision by Hitler, but that is the name they gave to that massive operation. So it says, it should be noted Olaf Scholz's decision raised a storm of reactions within the country's parliament. Many Germans believe that the U.S., along with Britain, set up an ambush in Germany. So again, I've also, I've been thinking about this, and I think there's some nefarious, machinations going on behind the scenes by the United States. It's really weird. It really just seems that they're set on escalating things. I'm almost thinking that they're trying to escalate this to such a point where, they want to pressure Russia into just completely destroying Ukraine, like in a catastrophic way. And, I was thinking they might think that will sort of turn even Russia's allies against them. If they can push Russia to possibly use like small tactical nuclear weapons. You might think that's silly, but again, there's literally, like, throughout history, we've seen documents where the U.S. has literally planned at some points throughout history on like killing its own citizens in order to justify wars with other countries. So you can't put it out of these people's hands, right? All these wild theories out there, but it certainly seems like The United States and these other countries have found a way to sort of trap Germany into sending these Leopard 2 tanks, even though the Germans are really hesitant about it. But again, we still have to wait till that debate tomorrow. Because again, if Parliament actually sticks to what the population of Germany is saying, then it's going to be a no, because according to reports, the majority of the people don't want to get involved in a direct battle against Russia because of World War II. So it says, let's see, general conscript in Russia just around the corner. Intelligence sources now confirm that Germany's decision to send tanks to Ukraine to use against Russia will trigger an unthinkable response from Russia, nuclear weapons, possibly. According to intelligence sources in Russia, Lieutenant General Andrei Gurilev told President Vladimir Putin that as soon as German tanks appear on Russian soil, Russia will have no choice but to announce a general mobilization. So pretty much like all-out war. The general went on to tell President Putin that German tanks are a clear violation of World War II demilitarization pacts. Putin reportedly responded to the general by saying that German tanks entered Russian territory once before and cost Russia 27 million dead. Again, guys, when the Germans launched Operation Barbarossa, it's, I think, up until today, it's still the largest force that we've ever seen by literally one of the most efficient and well-organized and lethal forces that the world has ever seen. Nazi Germany, again, yes, their ideology was evil, but nobody can deny that their military was one of the greatest in history. And if it were not for the Russians, they may very well could have taken over the world. But again, they decided to launch this major attack on Russia, and I believe they reached Berlin just like Moscow. They reached Moscow just like Napoleon did before them, and they were pushed out. You know, the Russian winter came, the Russians launched a counteroffensive, and then the Russians ended up reaching Berlin, and, you know, Hitler just couldn't stand that, so he killed himself. And so, you know, it's still very fresh in the memory of everybody there in Europe. So that's why the Germans are so worried about, you know, the message that German tanks in Ukraine might send. And yeah, I can't blame them. So it's going to be very interesting to see that debate there tomorrow. Russian sources report that Russia told Germany that this is a red line and World War III is bound to happen after that. Wow. So again, those scientists probably should have moved the needle a little bit closer to midnight on that doomsday clock, huh? Vladimir Putin will then mobilize all 20 million Russian reservists, although there's no information on how the retraining on the Russian side will work in practice. Putin can justify this step to the Russian people by saying that the last time German tanks raced against Russia, 27 million Russians were dead in the end. Again, guys, they didn't have nuclear bombs by, you know, at that time yet. So, you know, you're not going to have that many casualties right now because they'll resort to nuclear weapons before that. So it's getting pretty critical right now. It seems that this decision by the Germans is going to be the turning point. It's going to be the turning point. And again, it's not even like they're going to send the 300 tanks that Ukraine has said they need to turn things around. But it's the fact that, as we're reading here, even if one of them enters, right, Russian territory or is seen there in Ukraine, then things are going to escalate to a level that people just aren't really aware of, right? And so this and if they don't send the tanks, then that's just going to demoralize the whole of Ukraine and this whole NATO organization and the whole push towards defeating Russia. So pretty much it's like the Germans are caught between a rock and a hard place. So I think they are going to cave in. They're probably just going to send a few. If they do send a few, I don't think Russia's going to like launch nukes or something like that. If it's just a couple of them, right? I think they might use that as an excuse to, turn things up a little bit there on the battlefield and become more aggressive, right? Or launch this large offensive that everybody's waiting for. Because again, that's exactly what they're warning, the Western powers about. That if they do send these tanks, that things are going to escalate. But if it's just a couple of them, I don't think they're going to resort to, this mobilization of 20 million Russian reservists here. But again, I think that's all they will need to sort of ramp things up. So yeah, there you have it, guys. It looks like really we just have to wait until tomorrow to see what the German parliament decides. Again, it's going to be very interesting if they give the green light to Poland to send their Leopard 2 tanks, and if they also decide to send some of theirs. We'll have to see how many they will send. Again, if it's only a couple, I don't think that we're going to see a declaration of war by the Russians. But I'm not Russian. I wasn't. I wasn't there in World War II when Nazi Germany invaded Russia. So, from the Russians' perspective, just seeing one German tank there on the battlefield could spark that fire in them, right? And things could spiral out of control there in Ukraine. But again, it's very interesting because the United States, they're just a bunch of knuckleheads over there, and I think they want to see Ukraine like obliterated, and they want to paint Russia as this evil and try and get everybody else to turn on them. But I don't think it's going to have the desired result. And I think that the Americans are just in over their head with this one. And Germany here, they don't want to let down the Americans pretty much. So we'll have to wait and see tomorrow. I'll definitely keep an eye out on this, guys. Again, the truth is stranger than fiction. Leave me your thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you think is going to happen. I'm very interested to hear your guys' opinion. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.